Hey, what is up guys? Thanks for tuning in to hiswhitelight's Versus. So with my next few videos, I will be doing a retrospective on one of my all-time favorite game series. The series we're going to focus on is one that, along with Resident Evil and Final Fantasy, really defined my childhood as I spent many hours playing each entry. This game is in the vehicular combat genre, which has almost completely disappeared in today's gaming climate. If a demented clown and his ice cream truck just popped into your mind, you will be thinking in the right direction. Today's series is none other than Twisted Metal. This series follows a mysterious man named Calypso who once a year holds the Twisted Metal contest in Los Angeles. Locations for the contest would be expanded as the series progressed, however. This contest pitted entrants against one another in a fight to the death using a variety of vehicles equipped with machine guns, explosives, and a unique special weapon. Whoever won the Twisted Metal contest would be granted one wish by Calypso himself. These wishes would become a series staple as Calypso would twist the meaning of the request to punish the contest winner. We will get to some of the more ridiculous examples soon enough. Alright, let's jump into the first game. According to David Jaffe, who worked on the series with the studio Single Track, the game concept came about while stuck in traffic one day after a brainstorming meeting in 1994. Jaffe said in an interview, "We had these amazing visions of this Michael Bay or Michael Mann action movie going down the 405 freeway in LA with car combat out of Mad Max and a potpourri of explosions. And thus the vehicular combat genre was born and brought into mainstream audiences." The first Twisted Metal game started out codenamed Firestorm, and several names were thrown around before deciding on its moniker, including Urban Assault, Cars and Rockets, that's just a terrible name, and High Octane, all of which sound like a low-budget 80s action flick. I'm glad the name Twisted Metal stuck. Single Track was given a development schedule of about 12 months and a budget of $850,000 to complete the project. The game then debuted at the first annual E3 Expo in May of 1995 and went on to officially release on November 5th, 1995 for the PlayStation 1. The game featured a short story mode that took players through a variety of environments ranging from Assault on Suburbia to the traffic jam-inspired Freeway Free-for-All. The player is given a wide range of personalities and cars to drive that included a large transfer truck called Darkside, a police car named Outlaw, and an ice cream truck called Sweet Tooth driven by Needles Kane. This demonic clown and his ice cream truck would become a series mascot and would appear in every single game. The game concluded with a boss fight with Minion, who would also become a series regular. Upon completing the game, players were given scrolling text describing what happened to the contest winner after they made their wish. Live action versions of these endings were actually shot, but were not included in the game because of their horrible quality. After finally watching them years later after the game's release, I found them hilarious in a so bad they're good way. I mean, just look at Sweet Tooth here. This is textbook camp through and through.
You said it would be easy. Do you know what they did? Do you? Now it's my turn. It's my world. It's my the pineapple.
The press seemed to have overwhelmingly positive things to say about Twisted Metal also. Scores ranged from a 7 out of 10 from IGN to a 9.25 out of 10 and a Game of the Year award from Electronic Gaming Monthly. Critics praised its dark humor and innovative free-roam levels, but took issue with its short length and muddy textures. Maximum Magazine even stated that the game is probably destined for obscurity. After selling over 1.5 million copies of Twisted Metal, Single Track would return with a sequel in 1996 with Twisted Metal 2 World Tour. This game would take players outside the locales of Los Angeles to landmarks around the world, including the Eiffel Tower, Moscow, and Hong Kong for players to fight to the death. This time around, several characters from the first game returned also, including Mr. Grimm, Warthog, Outlaw, and of course Sweet Tooth, along with new contestants like Shadow, Mr. Slam, and my favorite newcomer, Axel, who is a man trapped in a vehicle where he is literally its Axel. Minion would return as a boss and playable character this time around, along with Sweet Tooth's father, Dark Tooth, who drove a massive ice cream truck when compared to Sweet Tooth's ice cream truck. Twisted Metal 2 was an improvement in pretty much every aspect over the original. The vehicles featured a higher polygon count and handled more realistically. The arenas were more detailed and had more interactive elements within them. The game also had more free roam levels to explore, more contestants, and animated comic book style endings for each of the characters. This game continued the trend of Calypso purposely misinterpreting the contestants' wishes, like giving Hammerhead's drivers the ability to fly, only to see them jump off of a building to their death and Calypso hold up plane tickets, to Spectre wishing everyone in the world would know his face and literally stretching his face across Los Angeles. I can remember being intrigued by the game's character endings for two reasons. One, I've always been a huge comic book nerd, and their look and feel really captured that. Second, they finally gave life to these characters beyond the description in the character select screen and scrolling text at the end of the first game. I played the game for what seemed like months to see every ending for each of the characters, as this is what you had to do before the days of YouTube. The dark humor of the series was reinforced with this entry as well, and really would not be captured again until the PS2 release Twisted Metal Black. This entry also saw a release on the PC with full multiplayer support, which I would have been completely dedicated to if I would have known this at the time of the release. This release was a critical and financial success for Sony, as the game sold approximately 2.44 million copies and was praised by the gaming press for its across-the-board improvements. Electronic Gaming Monthly and GamePro both praised the more interactive environments and enhanced features, but criticized the title's perceived lack of improvement in the graphics arena. Twisted Metal 2 was also runner-up for Electronic Gaming Monthly's Game of the Year, falling right behind Die Hard Trilogy. Singletrack's Twisted Metal series cemented itself in the video game world and spawned a multitude of imitators, from Rogue Trip to Vigilante 8. But with all the success being experienced by the series, there were problems behind the scenes as well. Those problems started to rear their ugly head in the form of a contractual dispute between Sony and Singletrack that would see the companies part ways and the Twisted Metal series left in limbo. Alright guys, do you think Twisted Metal's success would continue after this conflict? What would Sony do to make sure fans were appeased with this next entry? Check out my next video in this Twisted Metal retrospective to find out. Let me know in the comments what your favorite memories were of the Twisted Metal series, and if you enjoyed this discussion of the history of the first two titles, be sure to subscribe to His White Light's Versus for more video game related content. Thank you again for your support. Until next time, guys.